time to make a start again. Learn to trust my heart again. Listen to a brand new beat. Gonna get back on my feet.
Today on Your Business Success, no need to fly solo.
Learn some things from what went wrong. Get back up where we belong and let it be like it was meant to be.
Hello again, welcome to Your Business Success. I'm Charles Slade with some helpful hints this week about where to go and who to turn to if you want to grow your business and start exporting. The best place to start is with your local bank, as early as possible and with as much information as possible. Get it right from the word go, and before you know it, your business could be taking off, both here and overseas.
I started in my backyard, to be honest. I had a 20 by 30 shed. We fully lined it out so the neighbours wouldn't hear the noise, and it got a bit embarrassing having Qantas tailors coming down the driveway every 15 minutes. So we thought it was time to move out into a hangar.
Darryl Mention loves aircraft, so much so he's on a mission to build his own commercially viable airplane. But in the process, he's built a very viable manufacturing business, making aircraft components.
We looked at what we're trying to achieve, as in building our own aircraft, and realised for us to raise that amount of capital, we could either go down the path of venture capitalists or a business angel. And that wasn't really what we wanted to be. We wanted to do it on our own 2 feet.
Which is just what he did. From a 14-year career as an aircraft structural maintenance engineer in the Air Force to contractor in the aircraft industry, to starting his own business in the backyard shed, to here at Hangar 51 at Parafield Airport in South Australia.
It's been a passion that we've had for many a year. As a young man in the aviation industry, watching overseas companies coming in and buying Australian companies, buying projects, and when the projects are finished, they disassemble the companies. So when we started the business, it's one thing that we said that we were always going to do, always remain 100% Australian and prove to the Australian community, yes, we can do this here, we can build our own aircraft.
Now, Mention Aviation is a major force in the aviation industry, supplying parts and services for the Air Force, Army, Navy and civil aviation. They're also producing their own product range and are keen to break into the global supply chain.
That's where we're heading overseas next month to talk to the Europeans to see if we can start bringing that type of manufacturing work back here to Australia.
And to do all that, you're going to need bigger premises, aren't you?
We are, yes. As you can see, we're slightly hemorrhaging here.
The Cisco Business Health Check shows that business growth is soaring, so Mention Aviation needs more space to keep up with demand and extra finance to develop a new site. High-quality workmanship and services have resulted in a string of accreditations, which will aid in greater access to world markets. And with plans to go overseas, export advice is essential.
We've been fortunate to have a few mentors in some of the other companies we work for, so we know a little bit about the export market, but honestly, in depth, no. We've got our L plates on, so to speak.
So I said to her, now darling, if everything works out all right, that'll be fine. If it doesn't, we could lose the lot. She didn't hesitate. She looked me in the eye and she said, I don't care if I have to live in a tin shed as long as I can live with you.
Frank Seeley built a multi-million-dollar business knowing that he had his wife's unlimited support for every risk he took.
And that has been a tremendous help to me throughout my business career, because I've never had to make a single decision based on how it might be reacted to at home if it went wrong.
Like Darryl Mention, Frank Seeley started his manufacturing business in his garage.
It was actually 1972 that I started out. I had nothing else to do, so I thought I'll make evaporative coolers.
Frank didn't just make a cooler, he developed the world's first plastic portable evaporative air cooler, a major breakthrough in a market of highly corrosive metal coolers.
Year 1, 1,000 units. Year 2, 2,500 units. Year 3, it was 4,500 units. In 1976, year 4, we had our biggest bag full of orders, and on the 26th of September, I was asleep in bed, been working pretty hard. About 10:30 at night, I got a call.
The news was devastating. Fire had burned the air cooling plant in Edwardstown in Adelaide to the ground. Frank's first reaction was to call his brother Harold.
And he said, I'm going to bed now, but if you're not back into production within 7 days, I'm never going to speak to you again. Good night. And the phone was hung up.
The Adelaide community was touched by the company's plight, and together with the help from suppliers and offers of temporary premises, and with his brother's words ringing in his ears, Sealy International was back in production in 7 days. Now that is almost miraculous.
Yes.
Renews your faith in humanity. You are back up and running,
yes.
And then barely 5 or 6 weeks later, another calamity.
Yes, this time I was in a motel room, again asleep, in Melbourne. For a while I thought I shouldn't go to sleep at all after this, you know. And the phone rang and the second factory had been burnt.
Once again, the factory was back in production within a week, only bigger and better. This time, they had the world in their sights.
There was a background to getting into export, and that background was to simplify the product that we made. And we took a product which had something like 389 parts in it and reduced it to something with 56 parts in it. And that, of course, meant that costs were down.
Its simple design and superior performance gave the Sealy cooler the competitive edge. A proven fact after a cooler left in Iraq by accident after a trip abroad resulted in an order for 40,000.
My late brother Cedric used to say to me, an eyeful is always better than an earful, and there's something better than an eyeful, and that's if you can actually touchy-feely, then that convinces people if the quality's there, and it obviously was. And the following year, we got an order out of the Iraqi trading company for 100,000 coolers, 15 million US dollars. It remains the biggest single order we have ever got from anyone.
Coming up, the difference between involvement and commitment. That's after the break.